Hi, my name is Jonathan Hoban. I'm the creative director here at the SPAO Center.
Hi, I'm Jocelyn Keys, and I'm the Community Advancement Coordinator here at SPAO.
Hello, I'm Darren Potty. I'm the Gallery Programming Manager and Artist Residency Coordinator here at the SPAO Center.
So what the three of us wanted to do today is to better explain what A+ is, what the benefits are, what the reasons were if we created A+ in the first place. So A+ in a nutshell is an exhibition opportunity for our part-time studies community members. Opportunity for them to showcase the work that they've been working on, both in class or outside of class. And also it's an opportunity for them to exhibit to our broader audience. They might be the first time they've submitted to a real exhibition, or they might be someone who's done this year after year and are just looking to showcase something that they've been working on more recently. So it's also an opportunity for our community members to engage with arts and culture experts in the sector through our jury platform. So our submissions and our awards are reviewed by our jury and selected for prizes, of which there are over $5,000 worth of prizes in 9 categories. So there's lots of opportunities, not just to get your work seen, but also to get rewarded for your efforts. There's another big part of it, which is it's an opportunity for our community members to showcase what they're doing and promote something that they've been working on. SPAO is grateful to say that we have an audience, not just in Ottawa, but in Canada and internationally as well. And it's also an awesome opportunity for our community members to come together again, see an exhibition, look at what other people have been working on. And in the case of an opening, to actually commingle amongst each other and really sort of become that touchstone opportunity once a year where we get to actually come together and see what each other have been working on. So what we wanted to do now is actually explain how the submission process works and the categories for which people are eligible to apply. So I'll turn it over to Jocelyn.
Okay, so let's take a look at how to submit. So first we want to start off at the SPAO homepage, which is spao.ca. And as soon as you arrive, you're going to hover over Gallery and click A+ Exhibition. This will bring us to a page which includes our different details about A+, including eligibility, submission deadlines, as well as the link to start your submission. This will then bring us to a Google form, which includes all the details. So it includes the fee. So to submit to A+, you can become a monthly donor at any amount, and then you'd have a free submission A+, or you can make a one-time payment of $25. To be eligible to submit to A+, you must have taken at least one SPAO part-time class in the past. The work must have been produced in the past 5 years. It doesn't have to be produced, though, in a class that you've taken or while you were enrolled in a class. And if you are a diploma program graduate, you must have taken at least one part-time class, workshop, been a part of a mentoring group within the past 5 years, and the work that you submit cannot have been completed as a part of a project for the full-time program. So there are 3 categories that you can submit to. So there's digital print, photo book, and silver gelatin alternative process. You can submit in multiple categories, but you'd have to include, or you can only submit to a maximum of 5 entries. So images submitted through this application may be printed. So your images should be sized at a minimum of 2,000 pixels on the log edge. And John will take us through that in a few moments. As well, if you like, you can decide to include an artist bio or a statement with your submission. It's optional, but Darren will take you through the details of that a little bit later on. So if your photograph is based in a silver gelatin or alternative process like Polaroid, film, cyanotype, or anything of the like, but now the final product is in a digital format, like it's a scan, for example, you would submit that image to the silver gelatin or alternative process category. So let's get started. We'll start with putting in our email address. Next, we have to pay the submission fee. So you can click on the Canada Helps link, and that'll take you to a donation page. So that would allow you to become a monthly donor at any amount. Otherwise, we'll make a one-time payment to PayPal or via PayPal of $25. So if you don't have a PayPal account, you can just check out as a guest. And it has you start off with your email address. So to this email address, PayPal will send you a confirmation and transaction ID once you paid the submission fee. So after you fill in the details, the payment details, you press pay now, and that'll submit your payment. And once you receive your confirmation email, you'll just have to have the transaction ID handy for the next step. So here you can include the transaction ID. We've included an example, but if you decided to become a monthly donor, you can just write monthly donor here. So a few more details we have to include are your first and last name, as well as your phone number. An optional step is to include an artist bio. It can be up to 75 words. And just before we get to the submission part of your images, we've included a text or detailed way of how to submit or how to resize your images for Photoshop. And Jonathan will show us how to do that.
Okay, so I'm going to share a one-step process in order to resize your Photoshop for your image in Photoshop for submission. So here I've loaded up an image. In this case, it's a TIFF file, and I want to convert it to a JPEG file for the submission process for A+. So what I simply do is when I have the image loaded up in Photoshop, I click File, I go down to Export, and then I move over to Save for Web. Now in older versions in Photoshop, the Save for Web option is located under a different submenu, but it's the same option, Save for Web. I click the Save for Web option, and it should load a dialog box to convert the file. In this case, I want to make sure that I've selected JPEG as my what I'm going to convert the file to. And I also want to make sure that the compression type I have right here is set to high. In this case, you can see it says quality 65%, which is, in my opinion, the optimum size for getting the image file as small as possible without losing quality. And you also want to make sure that the convert to sRGB box is checked. And what that's going to do is when you convert to a JPEG, that the color information is going to be properly converted over for when we receive the file. And in this case here with the image size, it has the width and the height, and you can see here that the longest dimension is 8100 pixels. I'm going to change that to 2000 pixels according to the submission requirements for A+. So once that's set, you can see that it's saying that I've resized the image in terms of percent. It's about 25% of the original size. And I just literally click Save. When I click Save, it's going to bring up the Save dialog box, and I'm going to rename the file according to the submission requirements. And those are really easy. It's just your last name, underscore, your first initial, underscore, the title of the work. And then because this is going to be the first file I upload, I'm going to make sure I put underscore 01 so that I know that it's the first image in my submission package. I have desktop selected as my destination location. I click Save. And I'll just confirm that it's actually been saved properly to my desktop. And here it is right here. So now we'll go back to the form, and I'll click Next for the next stage.
Okay, so let's use the image that Jonathan has just prepared in our entry. So the type of entry it is would be a digital print. We're going to put in the title and the medium, or the way that the image was produced or made. We're going to put in the year of the creation. And now we're going to add the photo. So we'll click Add File. You can either drag and drop your file here, or you can select your file to upload it from your device. And if you want, you can include an artist statement about the work. And then we'll click Next. So now that we've uploaded one entry, we can decide to upload some more. But if you're only including one image for your submission, just press Next till you get to the end. And now we're done our uploading our entries, so we'll click Submit. And now your submit has been sent to SPAO. So now it'll be ready for our jury to look over.
So one thing I want to talk about a little bit is the optional elements of your artist bio and artist talk. Your artist bio is a really good way for you to talk a little bit about yourself, your career highlights, your education, a little bit about anything that has to pertain with your kind of arts career and your photographic career. Your artist statement per image, though, it's a really great way for the jury especially to get to know your work, to get those conversations out of you and to understand it on a much deeper level than just the visual level. It's not very big, it's only small, but it's a perfect insight to get into your kind of practice, to get into your process, to get into those conversations you're having. So I've put together 5 do's and don'ts for your artist statement, and then we'll go over a little bit of what the jury is looking for. So your do's and don'ts, number 1, do talk about you. Talk about your practice, talk about your process. What image is this and why does it matter to you? Don't add teachers, mentors, references, people that you're inspired by. I want to know why you made this image. Maybe that you worked on a collaborator and that this was a 2-person image and that was very integral, and if so, that's important. But really focus on, number 1, keeping it about you and self-promote a little bit. Number 2, do talk technical. We are an arts community, we are an arts audience, we are photographers, we know the language, we know what you're talking about. Don't shy away from using some very specific language, some very large language, some very technical requirements. We want to hear it, and the jury wants to be able to get there with you. On the flip side of that, I don't need to know image specifics. I don't need to know f-stop. I don't need to know aperture. I don't need to know what camera brand it is or what focal length of lens it is, unless it really is integral to the image. What I really want to know is what process got you there. What's the technique that got you there? And I think that's what the jury really appreciates. Number 3, if it's relevant, talk about the subject matter. Talk about what in the image is so important. I don't need an image description, so the don't for this is don't describe the image to me, but rather tell me what's relevant in it. Is this your mother that you're photographing? Is this plants from your garden that you're photographing? That's what I want to know, and that gives me a connection from the image content to yourself. Number 4, do talk about intent and motivation. Do talk about, is this part of a series? Is this part of an exploratory? Is this part of your practice? Is this your growth? What about this is so successful? On the flip side of that, stay away from things like, I hope this image presents, or I want this image to relay this message. Stay away from that passive language. I trust, and the jury trusts, that you made a grueling decision on why to include this image, and we get there with you. So talk about intent and motivation without going into passivity. Number 5, do talk about what technique you're finishing with. So is this a book? Is this a Polaroid? Is this a cyanotype? Tell me why that's important to the central theme of the image. Why does the presentation and the final technique matter to the themes and subject matter that you're choosing. Don't go into, I chose a book because I like the book format. Rather, talk about sequencing in a book and talk about why the physicality of a book matters compared to a print behind glass where there's a bit of a barrier. Hopefully that all makes sense. Now let's talk a little bit about what the jury is looking for. If you ever need guidance, or if you ever need kind of some idea of how to choose your images, think about SPAO's idea of vision, content, craft. The very first thing that the jury looks at is your image. You get the vision part of it, you get the aesthetics, you've got the gut reaction, that initial feeling. Does this image inspire me? Does it depress me? Does it, get me somewhere? Does it make me awe-inspired? Think about that and go with your gut on this. Think about, what images do I have that really get me there or can get somebody else there? Then dive into content. We want a rich kind of conversation happening with your imagery and with the things that you're submitting. Think about, what are you telling a story? Are you relaying some sort of message? Do you have something to say? Think about your content. Think about what series you're listening to or what you're providing us. Finally, the craft portion again. Why are you showing it the way that you're showing it? Why are you showing a cyanotype? Why are you showing the technical components of it? What does this matter to it? And so the jury is looking for all three of those when they're making their decisions for what is awarded and what kind of gets the top marks. As for image selection, the really big piece of guidance I can give you is go with your gut. Go with the ones that you feel deep down, that you keep thinking about, that you are really impressed with. Don't give us something that you think we want. Give us the stuff that's really close to you, because your artwork really is a connection to you. Otherwise, I'd say good luck. If you have any questions, you can always email us. The email is parttime@spao.ca. That's PART-TIME@spao.ca, and we're happy to help you out as much as we can. Good luck. I hope to be working with you shortly. Thank you.
Good luck.